to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television.
Hello and thanks for staying with us on Asset Television. Welcome to the news. I am Eugenia Solomon. First, the headlines. Senate sacks Code of Conduct Tribunal Chairman Omar. President Tinubu set to name envoys as military post consular F officers. United States charges Indian billionaire Adani with fraud. And now the news in detail. The Nigerian Senate has sacked Danladi Omar as the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal, CCT. The lawmakers, after a closed-door session, reconvened and invoked Section 157, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended to officially remove Umar as a CCT boss, citing allegations of misconduct. The Senate held that it had become imperative to remove as his actions were unbecoming and his level of gross misconduct no longer acceptable. Umar's removal paves the way for the official resumption of Abdullahi Bello as the new substantive chairman of the tribunal. 84 senators had signed in favor of his removal following deliberations on a motion by the leader of the Senate, Okpeyemi Bamidele. The motion was adopted by the upper legislative chamber after it was put to a vote by Senate President Godswill Akpabio.
Mr. Danladi Umar is hereby removed in line with Section 157, subsection 1 of the Nigerian Constitution as the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal. We have the quorum to invoke Section 157, subsection 1, removing the chairman of the Code of Conduct Tribunal from office for misconduct and for acts unbecoming of the holder of such an office. I've also noted from your contributions that ample opportunities were given to him to defend himself, and he appeared, and in his opinion, he did not need to continue any defense of himself, which is not the business of the Senate, but at least the admission of his misdemeanor and misconduct, or even fighting with a female at the Barnacks Plaza, is an act that is unbecoming of somebody who is supposed to watch over the conduct of public officers in our dear nation.
Omar was chair of the tribunal when Tinubu was charged with operating foreign bank accounts contrary to the Constitution. He was cleared of the charges. Over to security matters now. President Bola Tinubu has called on militaries across Africa to unite in addressing insecurity and other threats to the continent's unity and stability. He gave the charge when he officially declared open the second edition of the Africa Military Games at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. Tinubu, represented at the event by Vice President Kashim Shettima, described the event as a historic platform to foster unity, solidarity, and military cooperation across the continent. Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Media and Communication, Stanley Nkocha, revealed details of the ceremony in a statement titled President Tinubu. Time has come for African military to close ranks. The games with the theme Enhancing Military Cooperation in Africa through Sports marks a revival of the tradition initiated over 20 years ago in Nairobi, Kenya. The Nigerian Senate has commended the military for their prompt response to attacks carried out by Lukarawa terrorists in some communities in Kebbi State and parts of the Northwest, urging the military to collaborate with local communities to establish early warning signs to detect future incursions. The Red Legislative Chamber equally urged them to maintain vigilance in the affected areas to stop the problem, from escalating into other parts of the country. These resolutions were reached on Wednesday in plenary after a debate on a motion sponsored on the floor by Senator representing Kebbi North, Abdullahi Yahaya.
Urgent need for the federal government to take stringent measures to stop the infiltration of a group of violent terrorists known as Lakurawa from entrenching themselves in some northwestern parts of Sokoto and Kebbi states. Senate is aware that a group of terrorists from neighboring Burkina Faso and Mali, known as Lakurawa, has infiltrated the country through the Nigeria-Niger border at Ilela, Tangaza, Silami local government areas of Sokoto State, and are there. And from there, attacking communities in Augi and Ariwa local governments in Kebbi State. Senate recalls that this violent gang of terrorists had raided and dispossessed these communities prior to the large-scale invasion of Mera, a village in Augi local government, on November 8, 2024, killing more than 20 people and fleeing with their livestock amounting to hundreds of millions of naira.
Senators warned that failure to act decisively could allow the Lukarawa group to expand its operations, spreading terror to other parts of northern Nigeria and potentially threatening national stability.
Banditry started in Zamfara State, and about 9 years ago, nobody thought that it would spread to neighboring states. But we didn't take immediate measures to arrest the situation. And gradually, it spread to neighboring states of Sokoto, Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, and even beyond, even Niger State. So this Lakurawa movement is a terrorist movement. They came from Mali. They control the whole of northern Mali. And they made that part of the country ungovernable. Recently, the government of Mali, with the assistance of a foreign country, was able to dislodge quite a number of them. And they started spreading to other parts of West Africa, including Nigeria. Even though as far back as 4 years ago, some of them moved to Sokoto. And I think during the reign of Governor Aminu Tambuwal, now senator, he contacted the then president, and armed military men were sent, and quite a number of them were killed.
When I was on the saddle as governor of Sokoto State, to the glory of God Almighty, we had an incursion of this group, possibly, and I think I may be correct, for the first time in Sokoto State in 2018. And we had to mobilize in collaboration with the federal government to dislodge them and disperse most of them. It was a very, very well carried out operation by the security personnel. I was therefore surprised, Mr. President, when I read in the press some security officers or officials saying that this was the first time that we had such an incursion of this terrorist group in Nigeria. That is not correct. And Mr. President, I support all the prayers of this motion. We need to nip this in the bud. It's too serious for us to allow to take it lightly, because these people are well armed with sophisticated weapons, and I believe they even have some international connections. Therefore, there is a need for the government of Nigeria to take this matter very, very seriously. Otherwise, it may snowball, as did the banditry from Zamfara into virtually every part of northwestern Nigeria and several parts of north central.
After contributions by lawmakers on the matter, the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, stressed the need for citizens to continually collaborate with security agencies to nip terrorist activities in the bud.
This is the way it starts. And if it is not nipped in the bud, it will spread terror across many parts of this country. So I also want to use this opportunity because from the body of your motion, you pointed out that the Nigerian military moved swiftly and they were able to dislodge them from the communities that they kill people and occupied. And so while we commend the military, we want the military to continue to maintain their presence in those regions in order to forestall a further incursion into the country of this terrorist group. So, and I thank all my colleagues for their contributions. The security of lives of Nigerians is important to all of us, and security belongs to all. So thank you for bringing this, and I hope these motions that we have made today and all the resolutions so far will help to forestall the new group from gaining prominence in the country like all previous groups had done. Thank you so much. Can we...
Meanwhile, the Osun State Police Commander has said further investigations into what transpired between the officer in charge of its anti-kidnapping squad, Moses Lahore, and the chairman park management system in the state, Iyanda Alowanle, which led to him being shot, would be handled by the force headquarters in Abuja. Members of the park withdrew their services across the state on Wednesday to protest the alleged shooting of its chairman, Alowanle, leaving many commuters stranded. The secretary of the OSTMS, Mukaila Popola, had on Tuesday alleged that Alowanle was shot in the custody of the police after he was arrested following a complaint against him. But the acting police public relations officer, Osun Command, Emmanuel Giwalade, said Alowanle was maimed while attempting to escape arrest after he was allegedly caught with firearms by the police. Giwalade said the matter has been transferred to Abuja for further investigation, adding that the officer involved will be investigated and the state government's claim will also be probed. Meanwhile, the secretary of the OSTMS, Popola, said Alowanle was responding to treatment at the hospital. In a related development, Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has called for peace to allow the authorities to investigate and deliver justice on the shooting of Alowanle. The Medical and Dental Consultants Association of Nigeria has lauded President Bola Tinubu over the sacking of the Vice Chancellor of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Professor Bernard Udo, and Registrar Rosemary Mwokike. The association, which had been on strike since Monday over Udo's appointment, however, said it would not call off the 7-day warning strike until the National Executive Council meets on Friday. The national president of the association, Professor Muhammad, said the decisions made at the next meeting on Friday would determine the association's next line of action. The association had embarked on a 7-day warning strike to press home its demands, including the sacking of the Unizik VC. The strike, which commenced on Monday, grounded medical activities in 83 health facilities and 64 medical schools across the country. The association had earlier protested the exclusion of medical lecturers from appointment as Unizik VC, amongst others. Bowing to pressure on Wednesday, President Bola Tinubu dissolved the governing council of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Awka, Anambra State, and removed its new VC, Professor Udo, and Registrar Mwokike. He also approved the removal of Ohie Kusalami as the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of the Governing Council of the Federal University of Health Sciences in Otukbo, Benue State. Access Television News will continue shortly after the break. Stay with us.
Welcome to Access Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sports and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Access Television.
Well, many thanks for staying with us. If you are just joining us, you are watching the news on Access Television. The federal government has begun deploying consular officers to diplomatic missions worldwide before the anticipated release of the ambassadorial list. Following President Bola Tinubu's inauguration, a reassessment of foreign policy led to the recall of the 83 ambassadors, both career and non-career, from their post in September 2023, but the subsequent appointment of replacement has yet to take place. The envoys were instructed to return to Nigeria by October 31st, 2023, marking a shift in diplomatic strategy and suggesting that the government was looking to realign its foreign engagements to better serve national interest. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tugar, had said the ambassadors served at the president's behest in their host nations and that it was the president's prerogative to send or recall them from any country. Tugar added that it was part of a strategy to realign Nigeria's foreign engagement. Well, governors on the platform of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) will meet in Jos, Plateau State on Saturday amid ongoing internal disputes within the party to discuss internal matters and the current state of the nation. The meeting was in preparation for the 99th National Executive Council Committee meeting of the party scheduled for November 28. A senior member of the PDP requesting anonymity as he was not authorized to speak on the issue revealed that the acting national chairman Umar Damagum, national secretary Samuel Anyao, and national legal advisor Kamaldeen Ajibade's son were invited to the meeting. At the 98th NEC meeting held on April 18th, party leaders approved the formation of a reconciliation and disciplinary committee and the conduct of ward and state congresses and instructed the North Central Caucus to consult on the national chairmanship position. The 98th NEC also set August 15th for the 99th NEC meeting, which was first postponed to October 24th, 2024, and then rescheduled to November 28th, 2024. In the meantime, the Edo and Ondo governorship elections were held with both states lost to All Progressives Congress (APC). While the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited (NNPCL) says it has commenced sales of its latest crude oil, the Ukpata crude oil blend, to international refineries 6 months after it began exploration. It said the development is a major boost for Nigeria's crude oil production, revenue generation, and economic growth efforts. A statement signed by the Chief Corporate Communications Officer, NNPCL, Olufemi Soneye, on Wednesday in Abuja stated that the new product was unveiled before a packed audience of European crude oil marketers at the ongoing Argos European Crude Conference taking place in London, England. It will be recalled that in July 2024, the NNPCL and its partner, the Sterling Oil Exploration and Energy Production Company Limited, introduced the Okpata crude oil blend following the lifting of the first cargo of 950,000 barrels, which headed for Spain. Away from the national stories now, Indian billionaire Gautam Adani has been charged with fraud in the U.S., which has accused him of orchestrating a $250 million bribery scheme and concealing it to raise money in the U.S. The criminal charges filed on Wednesday in New York are the latest blow to 62-year-old Adani, one of India's richest men whose business empire extends from ports and airports to renewable energy. In the indictment, prosecutors alleged the tycoon and other senior executives had agreed to the payments to Indian officials to win contracts for his renewable energy company, expected to yield more than $2 billion in profits over 20 years. The Adani Group did not immediately respond to a request for comment. And in sports, Chelsea eased into the Women's Champions League quarterfinals on Wednesday with a 3-0 win over Celtic, while Lyon and Real Madrid also booked their places in the knockout phase. England international Lucy Bronze struck with a volley in the second minute at Stamford Bridge, and Dutch midfielder Wierke captain's header doubled Chelsea's lead midway through the first half. Eve Perisic added a third from the penalty spot in the second half stoppage time as Women's Super League leaders Chelsea made it 4 wins from 4 in Group B to guarantee their passage to the next round. And with that sports story, we end the news. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms for more news and programs. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Eugenia Solomon. Thank you for watching.
Welcome to Asset Television, your best station for news, politics, business, sport and entertainment. Your one-stop channel, Asset Television.